News, an emergency power grid alert has been issued for 14 different states, and we are already seeing blackouts spreading across the country in multiple different states right now. There's over 500,000 people without power currently inside the United States. So let's get into all the details here. You guys can see the map behind me. 14 different states are under this advisory right now: Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, even little parts of Minnesota are under this alert right now. All right. You guys can also see here, there's over 542,000 people that are without power. Currently, we have 220,000 people without power in Hawaii right now. 48,000 in Hawaii County, 17,000 in Maui, 151,000 in Honolulu County, and 3,000 in Kauai County. All right, so these blackouts are spreading across the country, and Southwest Power Pool is now warning that these could spread to more states. You guys can see here, it says the East Balancing Authority area resource advisory declared effective Sunday, August 16th at 12 p.m. noon until an anticipated end time of Wednesday, August 19th at 8 p.m. All right, so this is going on until Wednesday. They're warning that resources are being conserved, and there could be escalations where people need to conserve their energy. That's actually already happening right now in places like Colorado. Let's listen to this woman here that said she wasn't able to turn her thermostat down below 79 degrees. Let's listen to this really quick.
That was 79, and I wanted to put my daughter to bed, and it had a little warning that said, you are not allowed to lower your thermostat set point because the energy grid in your regional area is stressed. And I took a picture of it and I posted it on social media, and I was very annoyed because I was thinking, A, I understand why this is happening, but the average consumer is just going to see you're not allowed to control your own air conditioner in your own house without a reason other than the energy grid is stressed. And B, there needs to be, especially for sensitive communities, an easier opt-out feature. So I was able to find one, but I think there always needs to be an opt-out feature for infants, for elderly people, for people that have health conditions. It's literally not safe to have a utility not allow you to cool or heat your house.
All right, so you guys heard that there. She was saying that she wasn't able to turn the temperature below 79 degrees. This was the other day in Colorado due to a heat wave that was hitting Denver and parts of Colorado. You guys can see here, there's extreme heat advisories being issued for these states that are under the power grid alert, like Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana. All these areas are under extreme heat warnings, and the power grid could be strained.
Shalom. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rachak Madash, and double honor to our apostles, elders, and bishops here at Great Millstone for teaching this truth that's going all around the earth. And shalom to the hopeful elect out there, you brothers and sisters, right, who believe in this truth. All right, I'm your brother, Atazawam, and we're going to get into a quick lesson. That clip that I have in the front, I got that actually from the brother Dawada from GMS, Saints of the Most High. All right, I clipped that from, I watched this lesson that he put up today, and like to do a very short, commentary or response, if you will, to that portion that I clipped out. All right, and if you haven't subscribed to that brother's page, please go ahead and do so. All right. Now, with that said, let's just jump right in. So we see that this guy, I forget his name, Murphy, I think is his last name for his page, that the brother used. And you see my attention was really drawn to the woman that spoke about wanting to lower the temperature in her house, and she could not, right? She was told via her smart meter that because of the grid, the power grid, and the temperatures and so on, that she would not be allowed to actually personally control the temperature in her house, right? And that's nothing more than the doings of the elites in Esau, Edom, in which the prophets of the Lord, the teachers, have been warning everyone out there, all right, that these days would come because this man is totally out of control, thinks that he is on the level of the Most High, to which he believes, and I'm talking about Esau, Edom, so-called white man, the devil of the earth, who thinks that he's on par with the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, all right, that he can be the giver of life, the taker of life, right, in death, in which the Lord is the only one that can do that. But this man has such a God complex that he believes that he can control all manners of activity upon the earth by concentrating all the wealth into their hands, these elites, in which the majority of them, if not all of them, are of the branch of the Amalekites of Esau, Edom. All right, these tiny tops, these 48ers who have convinced the whole world, right, throughout all these years that they were the people of the Lord, which they're not. And the whole world is waking up, okay, to the deception of this devil, right? And now they're in a scramble as to how they're going to continue to pull off, right? How they're going to pull off this epic, seizing of all the resources and wealth on the earth, okay? That's this man's plan. And so with that, they have all these other plans in which the prophets told you about, right? I know myself, even before I was in the truth, I guess you could say I was on the path of truth and didn't really know it, but I had researched for many years, good 10, 12 years, before actually even coming into the truth, the different things that was going on behind the scenes. You can go as far back as to even when Aaron Russo put out that video that was called Freedom to Fascism, I believe. I remember that when it first came out. Okay, I was in the middle of my research as to what was going on behind the scenes. Okay, with these now we know them as the elites, but all these different families, right? The DuPonts, Gettys, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all of these different type of family names, and how they're, how they were doing their work for the past, who knows how many hundreds of years, on this side, okay? So anyway, we see that now we are in 2026, and we were just discussing this at camp, maybe I think 2 camps ago, about smart meters, all right, and how the companies, the utility companies, really are being controlled by the top investment management companies, all right. They've gone all around the country buying up all of the power companies, buying up the majority of the stock, and the water companies and gas companies. And so they've affixed them with these so-called smart meters, in which they're basically controlling everything, okay? And it's a total land grab, money grab, property grab, energy grab, everything that you could think of. They want total control over everything, okay? And so they think that they have they have a plan. I think one of those plans that I looked at many years ago was called the King Alfred Plan, right? The depopulation, okay, of Babylon the Great, and so on, and across the world as they see it, okay? They think that they're the only ones that should prosper and live in this, as it were, a utopia for themselves, all right? And everyone else that would actually make it would be in a suffering condition, right? And be at their mercy, you see? Again, trying to play the role of the Most High. All right, so I pulled up also, let's just go to it right now. smart meters, right? So when you look at it in the AI overview, it says smart meters are digital devices used to automatically and remotely measure and send real-time electricity, gas, or water consumption data to utility companies, right? But that really is just for total control, all right, and what you can have and what you can't have, okay, when they decide, all right? You won't be able to go to your thermostat and just say, you know what, I want my house to be set at 69, irregardless to what is going on with the power grid, so to speak. Well, now they're not going to allow you to do such things. All right, they're doing that across the country. Okay, and you heard how uh, this current summer, because we're coming to the end of summer here, maybe another 30 days or so. But it's been hot. It's been extremely hot all across the country, even across the world. You see, all right, and we never want to give the devil too much credit, okay, because these things are done, through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, that this man has the power that he has, but it's only for a short while, okay? But nonetheless, they believe that they're the ones who are controlling this, okay? They controlling, what do you call it, the HARP devices that they have, or whatever the case may be, in which any technology that they may have, all right, it still comes from the left-hand side of the Most High, you see? So you can't give them, a whole bunch of credit, all right? But anyway, let's read a little bit more of this. It says, they replace old analog meters to eliminate manual readings, stop estimated billing, speed up power outage responses, and help modernize the energy grid. Okay. Then next it says, remove the need for workers to physically visit properties to read meter dials, right? Because that used to be a real good job. If you could get it, is to be a meter reader for your electric company or gas company in your local, city or town. Okay. Well, they basically got rid of that job now because they could do it digitally. Remember, the prophets have always told you about, especially since this YouTube era, have told you about the digital world that they want to, bring about, okay, including your money, okay? So everything is there, everything is in place. It's just a matter of time before it all comes to that. All right. And then it goes, let's just read this here, because we're not going to read all of this. It says, grid efficiency says provide continuous data streams to help balance energy loads and monitor failing equipment early. Okay, which is what it sounded like that lady was saying in the little clip. Okay, that they were basically telling her that you can't cool your house to what you want it to be. Okay, so it's all about that control, right, and taking control of your life. That you would just merely exist, and as the WEF said, that devil that's over that. I think his name is Klaus Schwab, something to that effect, said, you will own nothing and be happy, you see. So let's get a few scriptures again to reiterate the fact that the prophets speak of something, right, which is called prophesying, and a lot of the times it falls on deaf ears, okay? So this particular chapter here, Isaiah 53, going into the coming of Yahushua, but it's prophesied by what? Or by who? The prophets, right? It says, verse 1, who hath believed our report? Right, and that's what the men in the Lord are saying today. Who have believed our report? All right, though our forefather Isaiah, stated this here, okay, the men of the Lord today are saying the same thing. We've shown you what we told you, and we've shown you with the evidence of it that these things were going to come to pass, right? Through the scriptures, number one, and then through some of the scholarly work, right? The digging, right, as it were, through all these different plans and things that most people didn't even know existed. But the prophets have spoken on it and told you about it. And sure enough, here it is, right? Once again, verse 1, it says, "Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?" Okay? So that report of the prophets prophesying, told you about these days that will be coming. All right? And that's pretty much what I'm just going to take from this. This is actually a very good chapter here to read, about Yahushua coming. Okay? All right? But the point is that the prophets prophesy. So they tell you before, all right? They tell you what's going to happen. And for us today as teachers, right, as prophets and teachers, we break down the scriptures and make it plain and speak in a plain manner for you to understand it. And even though, through the Spirit we do that, it's only for a certain group of people that's going to understand it anyway, all right, which is the elect of the Lord. Okay, but the other point of that is that this man that that's in power is the devil of the earth, right? He does the workings of Satan in the earth. Okay, let's read a little bit about some of the things and characteristics and viewpoint of the identifying markers of this man. Okay, so once again, this was something that was prophesied, right, of this man and his wickedness, all right, and the things that he would seek out to do, right, and his haughtiness, his Salakia, his pride, okay, in which he thinks he's on that level of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, okay? So let's just jump in Isaiah 14 and 3. It reads, "And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, that thou shalt take up this parable against the king of Babylon." And right now, that king, Babylon really is the so-called white man, all right, who's been running this place and executes all the things from, their quote-unquote Oval Office, all right? All right, just to put it plainly, right, just to name one particular place that they operate from, all right, because you also got the financial branch of it over there in London, right? But going on in verse 4, it reads, "That thou shalt take up this parable against the king of Babylon and say, How hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the sepulchre of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing." Right, because this man is going to be brought down by the Lord. Okay, but even though they know this, they still, because the Lord put the Spirit on them, right? Number one, the Lord made them crooked, right? So even if he wanted to, he couldn't straighten himself out. He's got to do wickedness because that's the way he's made, all right? But even though they know this, there's nothing that they can do to even stop their own selves, you see? Verse 8, "Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no fellows come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us?" Right, because this man is getting ready to take one hell of a fall. All right, and people of the other nations are looking at America just like this whole situation with Persia over there now. All right, trying to make up a deal in which America is going to be forced to go away, right? If it comes to that, with their tail tucked between their legs, so to speak, okay? Because they didn't win this thing, all right? They have to seek out a deal in order to try to get out of this mess that they've gotten themselves in, all because of the tiny hats, okay? Verse 11, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm shall, Salaki, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, right? Which is, meaning light bearer, okay? Lucifer is not actually the name, okay, of, as people think in the church, that's Satan. Well, it's the devil, all right, which is a so-called white man, right? But they're the light bearers, right? They're of the light of wickedness, okay? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High. See, and that's their whole thing, is to be on that level, the giver of life, right? They believe that they are, and then they think that they're the harbingers of death, that they can control who lives and who dies. That's what they want. That's the power that they seek it, okay? And you can only be on our planet, if we allow you to. That's the mindset of these people, okay? We'll read a little bit more. Verse 15, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. And that's what hell is. It's not talking about some subterranean place with lava rocks and fire and all that kind of stuff, right? It's the sides of the pit, or to a low state, okay? They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake kingdoms, right? So Lucifer is talking about the man, a particular man, Esau, Edom, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners, you see? And so who controls the prison system, right? Is it not a man, right? Because Satan don't lock anybody up in prisons, you see? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house, but thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit as a carcass trodden under feet, that thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Right? And that's coming, okay? When Yahushua returns, it will be the end of Esau, Edom, in terms of rulership, okay? For I rise up against them, saith the Lord, Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord, right? There's going to be an end to the posterity, right, to the branch of Esau, Edom, you see? But their whole thing is to control everything on the planet, all right? And you will be in this digital prison that they imagine for you, right? But all things, a prophecy, and the prophets have spoken on these things that are written already in the scriptures, okay? And so the giver of life is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And so all those that leave this planet, that's in the hands of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, okay? This is Ezekiel 18:1. It reads, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, what mean ye that ye use this proverb concerning the land of Israel, saying, the fathers have eaten sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge? As I live, saith the Lord power, ye shall not have occasion any more to use this proverb in Israel. Behold, all souls are mine. So we stop right there, which is my whole point in verse 4. All souls belong unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay? So there's no particular man upon the planet that thinks that he can control the number of souls that can live and the number of souls that should die. Right? All souls belong to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Though this man thinks that he has a way to get around what the Lord has already sanctioned. Okay? Behold, all souls are mine, as the souls of the Father, so also the soul of the Son is mine. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. But if a man be just and do that which is lawful and right, and hath not eaten upon the mountains, neither have lifted up his eyes to the idols of the house of Israel, neither hath defiled his neighbor's wife, neither hath come near to a menstruous woman, he hath not oppressed any, but hath restored to the debtor his pledge, hath spoiled none by violence, hath given his bread to the hungry, and hath covered the naked with a garment, he that hath not given forth upon usury, neither hath taken any increase, that hath withdrawn his hand from iniquity, hath executed true judgment between man and man, hath walked in my statutes, and hath kept my judgments, to deal truly. He is just, he shall surely live, saith the Lord power. Right. Keeping the statutes of the Lord and how to control yourself, how to deal with your brothers, and that is the way of the Lord. And everything that we just read is opposite for Esau Edom, because he put usury on us, right? He doesn't deal with us fairly, right? He would rather try to find a way to kill us, right, than to help us along, right? He's not a real true brother. He doesn't keep the commandments. I mean, obviously he's opposite of Jacob, but the whole point is that was still his brother, or is his brother, right? So everything that we do or try to do, as it were, as a nation of people, is totally opposite for Esau Edom, right? Because they do all the wickedness. They deal with idolatry and witchcraft, right? They put interest on everything that you get from them, right? They treat you totally bad. You see? Always trying to, make a nickel off of you, okay? And they're filled with iniquity, okay? And there's no salvation for them because they're wicked, you see? But the whole point was really for me, verse 4, all the souls belong to the Most High, okay? Though this man think that he's on that level and he's going to decide who lives, okay? This is Job 20, and let's just jump in at verse 4. It says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumph of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung, right? So this is what ultimately is going to happen to Esau Edom, okay? They which have seen him shall say, where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. Right? So everything that they've stolen from us for all these many hundreds of years is going to be brought back. Okay? We're going to get it all back. Wait until our big brother returns so we can see the fireworks go off. Okay? He shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth, yet his meat in his bowels is turned. It is the gall of ass within him. He shall swallow down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. You see? And pretty much that's pretty much the point. Let's read a little bit more. We can go down a little bit more. Verse 15, he has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. He shall suck the poison of ass and viper viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers and the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. Yeah, because when we get in the kingdom, his ass is going to be in a low state for that 1,000 years, man. We gonna put hell on it, so to speak. All right. Verse 18, that which he labored for shall he restore and shall not swallow it down. Right. So although they're trying to, create this utopia for themselves upon the earth, it's not going to happen. Right. When they bring the MOTB and when they do all these other things, when they think that they finally have it all together, that's when it's going to happen. Right. The Most High is not going to allow this man to be successful. All right, when it comes to that, okay? According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor. And the poor is what? The Israelites, okay? Because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel the quietness in his belly. He shall not save or that which he desired. All right. There shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. All right. And pretty much I've hit the point that I wanted out of here. So, we'll leave off from here and we'll get the last scripture, all right, which is Micah 2. And it reads, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. Or hands, Lakia. So yes, they right now, Esau Edom thinks he's got everything going exactly the way he wanted. Right? You got GMO foods, printed meat, lab grown meat, right? Writing all types of decrees and bylaws in certain neighborhoods or revised statutes, right, in cities and towns. You can't grow your own vegetables. You can't do no gardening. All these different things that they're putting in place. Okay, all right. They poisoning well water. Okay, remember all of those derailments from 4 or 5 years ago from all the trains poisoning the water all across the country. That wasn't an accident, you see, to the point where they're, messing with the weather. Okay, all these different things, okay, adds up to what they're trying to do. Okay, verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, so that they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Okay, and that's what they're up to. Okay, that's their shtick. That's where they get their rise from. Right? It's being able to say who lives and dies makes them think that they're on the level of the Most High. Okay, so anyway, that's my response and my commentary to the brother's video today. And it struck a chord with me because we here at camp, like I said a couple of weeks ago, I think we were touching on that a little bit about the pride of Esau Edom, and to the point of being able to control even the energy that people will have. Be able to use, the water, the gas, the electric. They want all things in their hands, you see. So with that, I'll end this lesson right here. Lord willing, it was edifying. And, we'll keep pushing on. You brothers and sisters out there, you stay strong and stay in the faith, stay in the truth, all right? Because there are a lot of things out here to distract you, and stick with the men who are teaching you the truth of the scriptures, right? The prophets who are prophesying, who gave you the reports, okay? All right? So with that, we're in the lesson right there. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai. Shalom.